96 hours. That's how long Lieutenant Kira Whitmore had been inside a shipping container in 104-degree heat. 4 days, 4 nights, no showers, no real sleep, just protein bars that tasted like cardboard, recycled air that burned her lungs, and a high-powered scope pressed against her eye socket until the world became nothing but crosshairs and targets. The container sat on Pier 9 of the San Diego Commercial Port. Outside, longshoremen moved cargo, forklifts beeped, ships groaned against their moorings. Inside, Kira was a ghost, invisible, silent, watching. Through the scope, she tracked 3 men loading wooden crates marked agricultural equipment onto a truck. She'd been watching these same 3 men for 96 hours. She knew their routines, their smoke breaks, the way the tall one scratched his neck when he was nervous, the way the fat one checked his phone every 12 minutes. What they didn't know was that those crates contained 50 Chinese-manufactured AR-15 rifles. What they didn't know was that Kira had photographed every serial number, documented every handoff, recorded every conversation through a directional microphone. What they didn't know was that in exactly 7 minutes, federal agents would swarm this pier and end their operation. Kira's radio crackled. Master Chief Garrett Thornhill's voice cut through the static. Deep, gravelly, the kind of voice that had barked orders at her through Hell Week 3 years ago when she was 20 years old and convinced she was going to die. Package secured, Lieutenant. 50 rifles off the street. Outstanding work. Kira didn't respond immediately. She watched through the scope as unmarked vehicles rolled onto the pier. Agents in tactical gear emerged like ants from a disturbed nest. The 3 smugglers didn't run. They didn't even have time to look surprised. Exfil in 30, Thornhill continued. Debrief at 0800 tomorrow. Kira finally keyed her radio. Her voice came out hoarse. She hadn't spoken in 4 days. Copy that, Chief. A pause. Then Thornhill again. And there was something different in his tone. Something that might have been concern if Master Chief Garrett Thornhill was the type of man who showed concern. Intel says there's a secondary target at the warehouse. Some kind of meeting going down at 2300 hours. You up for it? Kira closed her eyes. Her body screamed at her. Her hands shook from dehydration. Her uniform was soaked through with sweat. She'd urinated into bottles for 4 days. She'd eaten 6 protein bars total. She'd slept maybe 4 hours in 96. But she'd survived worse. Hell Week had been worse. BUD/S had been worse. The 12 miles of ocean swimming in 50-degree water had been worse. She could do another mission, but something in her chest said no. Something that felt like the last thread of her humanity pulling taut. Negative, Chief. Need to reset. 96 hours is my limit. She waited for pushback. Thornhill was old school. Gulf War, Afghanistan, 2 decades of service. He didn't believe in limits, but he surprised her. Roger that. You've earned it. Get back to base. Shower. Sleep. We'll debrief tomorrow. Copy. And Lieutenant? Yes, Chief. You did good work out here. Real good. The radio went silent. Kira sat in the darkness of the container for another 10 minutes. Not because she had to, because she needed to remember how to be human again. How to exist outside of the scope, outside of the mission. She thought about her sister, Natalie, 19 years old now, college sophomore, psychology major, straight-A student, survivor. 3 years ago, Natalie had been 16, walking home from a friend's house at 9:30 on a Thursday night. 3 men in a car. The wrong street, the wrong moment. They'd used a phrase that Kira would never forget. Don't scream. That's what they'd told Natalie. Before they dragged her into the car, before they drove her to an empty parking lot, before they did things that Kira still couldn't think about without her hands curling into fists. Natalie had reported it, had gone through the rape kit, the interviews, the humiliation of describing every detail to detectives who looked at her like she was lying. to lawyers who asked what she'd been wearing, to a system that ultimately decided there wasn't enough evidence to prosecute. 3 men walked free, and Kira had walked into a Navy recruiting office the next day. She'd been 17, senior year of high school, full scholarship to Stanford, pre-med track, her whole life mapped out. She'd thrown it all away. Not because she wanted to be a hero, because she wanted to be someone who could make sure it never happened again. Someone strong enough, trained enough, dangerous enough. She'd made it through BUD/S, through Hell Week, through the bell that 100 other candidates had rung to quit, through the instructors who told her women didn't belong, through the cold and the pain and the exhaustion that felt like dying. She'd earned her trident. She'd become a Navy SEAL. And now, sitting in a metal container after 4 days of surveillance, all she wanted was 5 minutes to feel human again. Just 5 minutes. The Rusty Anchor sat 3 blocks from the naval base. It was the kind of bar where sailors went to pretend they weren't still on duty. Dark wood, neon beer signs, a jukebox that only played country music from the 90s, the smell of fried food and spilled beer. Kira walked in at 21:47 hours wearing civilian clothes. Olive green t-shirt, BDU cargo pants because they were comfortable and she owned nothing else. Hair down for the first time in 4 days. No makeup, no jewelry, just a tired woman who wanted water and silence. The waitress appeared 30 seconds after Kira slid into a corner booth. Mid-50s, kind eyes, bleached blonde hair pulled back, name tag that read, Deb. "What can I get you, honey?" "Just water, please, ice." Deb smiled, the kind of smile that said she'd been working bars for 30 years and knew a rough day when she saw one. Rough day? Long day. "I hear that. Be right back." Kira's eyes scanned the room without conscious thought. It was automatic now. Tactical assessment. A habit drilled into her through 3 years of training. 14 people. 2 couples in booths. 3 men at the bar watching a basketball game nobody cared about. A woman alone at a high top nursing a glass of wine. And 4 men at the far end of the bar. Military. Kira could tell from 100 feet away. It was the posture, the haircuts, the way they carried themselves even in civilian clothes. Marines, probably. Camp Pendleton was 30 miles north. She cataloged them without staring. Blonde guy, square jaw, late 20s, t-shirt stretched tight over muscles that said he spent too much time in the gym. Loud. The kind of loud that came with too much alcohol and not enough self-awareness. Next to him, another Marine. Dark hair, stocky build, tribal tattoo creeping up his neck. The kind of guy who thought intimidation was a personality. The third was older, mid-30s, scarred knuckles wrapped around a water bottle. Not drinking, watching. The kind of guy who'd been in the game long enough to know better. The fourth was younger, nervous, kept checking his phone. Didn't fit with the others. Kira looked away. Not her problem. She just wanted water and quiet. Her phone buzzed. Text from Natalie. "Hey, you okay? Haven't heard from you in a week." Kira typed back with thumbs that felt like lead. "I'm good. Just got done with work. How's school?" The reply came in seconds. "Finals are killing me, but I'm handling it. Love you." "Love you too. Call you tomorrow." Kira set the phone down, pressed her palms against her eyes, tried to remember the last time she'd slept in a real bed. 5 days ago? 6? Deb returned with ice water in a plastic cup, set it down with a napkin. "You need anything else, sweetheart, you just holler." "Thank you." Kira drank half the glass in one pull. The cold burned her throat. She hadn't realized how thirsty she was. That's when she heard it. "Dude, check out the brunette in the corner." Her eyes flicked up. The mirror behind the bar gave her a perfect view. The 4 Marines were looking at her. The blonde one, the loud one. He was grinning like he just spotted prey. "She's got that yoga body, bro," his friend laughed. "Go talk to her." "Nah, man, she's got that I have a boyfriend vibe." "So what? You afraid of a little challenge?" The older one, the one with scarred knuckles, leaned in. Kira couldn't hear what he said, but she saw the blonde one's grin widen. You think? I know. Kira's jaw tightened. She set down her water. Maybe they just talk and move on. Maybe this was nothing. But 3 years of training had taught her to trust her instincts. And her instincts said this wasn't nothing. Footsteps approached. She didn't look up. Hey there. The voice was smooth, practiced. This wasn't his first time. Kiara glanced up, made brief eye contact. The blonde Marine. Up close, she could see the glassy sheen in his eyes. Drunk. Not stumbling drunk, but enough. She said nothing. I'm Trent. Couldn't help but notice you over here all by yourself. I'm good, thanks. He smiled, not warmly, the smile of someone who wasn't used to being told no. Ah, come on, I'm just being friendly. I appreciate it, but I'm really just here to decompress. Decompress from what? Rough day at yoga class? Kira felt heat rise in her chest, pushed it down, breathed. Something like that. Let me buy you a real drink. Water's boring. I'm fine with water. You sure? I don't bite. He slid into the booth across from her without invitation. Kira's hands tightened around her glass. I didn't invite you to sit, Trent laughed, loud enough for his friends to hear. Whoa, okay. Didn't mean to invade your personal space. Just thought you might want some company. I don't. Got it, got it. He raised his hands in mock surrender, but he didn't move. So what brings you to this dive? You don't look like the usual crowd. I could say the same about you. Fair point. I'm stationed at Pendleton, Marine Corps. Just finished a training rotation. Me and my boys are blowing off steam. He waited for her to be impressed. She wasn't. That's nice. His smile faltered, just a flicker. Then it returned colder. You military? No. Your pants say different. Those are BDU cargos. They're comfortable. So you just like the aesthetic? Kira met his eyes, held them. I like being left alone. Trent's expression hardened, just for a moment. Then the smile came back. You're kind of rude, you know that? And you're kind of invasive. He leaned forward. I'm trying to be nice here. No, you're not. You're trying to wear me down until I'm polite enough to tolerate you. His jaw clenched. Wow, you got some attitude. I've got boundaries. There's a difference. Across the bar, his friends were watching. The stocky one with the tribal tattoo stood up. Trent noticed, grinned. My buddy Brock thinks I'm getting shot down over here. You are. See, that's the thing, though. I don't think you mean it. I absolutely mean it. Nah, I think you're playing hard to get. It's cute. Kira felt the anger rising. The anger she'd learned to weaponize during BUD/S. The anger that got her through Hell Week when instructors screamed in her face that she didn't belong. That women were too weak, too emotional, too soft. She breathed, counted to 3. I'm going to say this once more. I'm not interested. Please leave. Trent leaned back, spread his arms across the back of the booth. Or what? Brock arrived, stood at the end of the table. His eyes traveled down Kira's body slowly, deliberately. Everything cool here, Trent? Yeah, man, just having a conversation with our new friend, except she's being a little unfriendly. Brock looked at Kira. That's a shame. Pretty girl like you all alone. Makes a guy wonder what you're running from. Kira's voice dropped, flat, cold. I'm not running from anything, and I'm not interested in whatever this is. So both of you need to walk away. Now. Brock laughed. Oh, she's feisty. I like that. The third one approached. The older one with scarred knuckles. He didn't smile, just assessed. Gentlemen, let's give the lady some space. Kira felt a flicker of relief. Then he slid into the booth next to her, blocked her exit. Here's the thing, sweetheart. His thigh pressed against hers. She didn't move. My friends here, they're good guys. Little rough around the edges, but good guys. They're not trying to disrespect you. They just want to get to know you. You're touching me. Barely. Move. Or what? You going to make a scene? The fourth man arrived, the young one, the nervous one. He stood at the end of the booth, completing the box. 4 men, 1 woman, 1 exit. Kira's heart rate didn't spike. Her breathing didn't change. Years of training kicked in. Assess, prioritize, execute. The older one, Vincent, she heard Trent call him, was the real threat. Sober, experienced, calculating. Trent was ego, drunk, sloppy. Brock was muscle, follower. The young one was uncertain, weak link. Last chance, Kira said quietly. Move, now. Vincent leaned closer. His breath smelled like mint gum and arrogance. You know what I think? I think you came here looking for attention, wearing those tight pants, that low-cut shirt, hair all down and pretty. You wanted guys to notice you. You're wrong. Am I? Then why are you here alone? Dressed like that? Kira's voice didn't waver. Because I have every right to exist in public without being harassed. Harassed? Brock laughed. Lady, we're being nice. You want to see harassment? No, you want to see consequences. Trent slammed his hand on the table. Listen, sweetheart, don't call me that. You need to adjust your attitude. We're offering you a good time. Free drinks, good conversation. Maybe more if you're lucky. And you're sitting here acting like you're too good for us. I am too good for you. Vincent's hand moved to her thigh. Big words for someone who's outnumbered. Kira looked at his hand, then at his face. Remove your hand. Make me. The bar around them continued. Music played. People laughed. Deb the waitress was taking an order 3 tables away. Nobody noticed, or nobody cared. This was the moment where most women froze, where fear overrode logic, where survival meant compliance. Kira wasn't most women. I'm going to count to 3, she said. If your hand is still on me, you're going to regret it. Vincent smiled. Tough girl, huh? 1. What are you going to do? Scream? 2. Trent leaned forward. And then he said it. The words that made everything stop. The words that connected this moment to a night 3 years ago. To a 16-year-old girl in a parking lot. To a system that failed her. Nobody's going to help you, sweetheart. Look around. Nobody cares. And then Vincent squeezed her thigh and whispered in her ear, Don't scream. Kira's world went red. Not with rage, with clarity. She'd heard those exact words before, from Natalie's mouth, sobbing, broken. 3. Kira moved. Her left hand shot across her body, grabbed Vincent's wrist, twisted hard, inward rotation, leveraging his thumb. The gooseneck lock that Master Chief Thornhill had taught her when she was 20 years old and learning how to break bones without hesitation. Vincent gasped, tried to pull away. She stood, maintained the lock, forced him to stand with her or have his wrist shattered. What the? I asked you to move, Trent stood. Let him go. Kira released Vincent, stepped back, hands visible, non-threatening posture. I want to leave. Move. Brock blocked her path. You just assaulted my friend. Your friend assaulted me first. Now move. The young one, Owen, she heard Vincent call him, shifted uncomfortably. Guys, maybe we should just... Shut up, Owen. Trent turned to Kira. You made a big mistake. No, you did. Vincent rubbed his wrist, eyes dark. You know what? I was going to be nice, give you a chance to apologize. But now, he stepped closer. Now we're going to teach you some manners. Kira's voice remained calm. You're going to assault me? Here? In public? Who's going to stop us? Brock gestured around the bar. You see anybody rushing to help? He was right. A couple at a nearby booth had noticed. They looked away. The bartender was restocking beer, didn't even glance over. Deb was in the back. Kira was alone. She'd been alone before. Final warning, she said. Walk away, all of you, right now, or this ends badly for you. Trent laughed. For us? Sweetheart, there's 4 of us and 1 of you. I know. Something in her tone made Owen take a step back. Vincent noticed. Owen, hold your ground. Man, I don't know about this. I said hold. Owen stayed, but his heart wasn't in it. Kira calculated. Owen was out. 3 real threats. Vincent was the tactician. Take him out first. Trent was emotional. Second. Brock was a follower. He'd break when his leaders fell. Okay, Vincent said. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to apologize for hurting my wrist. Then you're going to come outside with us. We're going to have a little talk about respect. And if you're smart, you'll be very, very nice about it. And if I'm not, he smiled, cold, practiced. Then we make you. Kira felt it then, the stillness, the calm that came before action. She'd felt it in training, in the container, in the moment before she committed. This was different. This was personal. You should know something, she said quietly. What's that? I gave you multiple opportunities to walk away. So when this is over, and you're explaining to the police why you thought it was okay to corner a woman and threaten her, remember, I tried to de-escalate. She paused. You chose violence. Trent grabbed her arm. Come on, sweetheart, outside, now. Kira looked at his hand on her arm, then at his face, and then he whispered it again, the phrase that sealed their fate. Don't scream. She thought of Natalie, 16 years old, walking home, 3 men, those same words. Kira made a decision. Okay, she said softly. You want me outside? Trent grinned. Now you're being smart. Then let's go. She walked toward the door. They followed, smug, confident, already celebrating. Vincent leaned close to Brock. See, they always fold. Just gotta push hard enough. They had no idea what was about to happen. No idea that the woman in the olive green shirt wasn't a victim. She was a weapon they just armed. The parking lot was darker than the bar. 2 flickering overhead lights, broken asphalt, the smell of garbage from a dumpster 20 feet away. Perfect. Kiara walked 3 steps ahead, controlled, measured. Behind her, she heard them. Confident footsteps, low laughter, the sound of men who thought they'd already won. She stopped near a pickup truck, turned to face them. All 4 spread out instinctively. Formation. They'd practiced this before. Trent crossed his arms. So, you ready to apologize? For what? For being difficult inside, for hurting Vincent's wrist, for wasting our time. Kira tilted her head slightly. You brought me out here for an apology? Among other things, Brock grinned. What other things? Vincent stepped closer. We want you to understand something. You can't just disrespect people. There are consequences. I agree. Good. So apologize. I wasn't talking about me, Trent laughed. Okay, so apologize. I said I agree. There are consequences. Vincent's expression flickered. What's that supposed to mean? Kira looked at each of them, slowly, deliberately. It means you cornered a woman in a bar. You touched her without consent. You threatened her. You forced her outside. And now you think you're going to do what? Scare me? Hurt me? Teach me a lesson? You're damn right, Brock said. Wrong answer. She moved, not toward the exit, toward them. Her palm struck Trent's solar plexus. Fast, precise. He gasped, doubled over. Brock lunged. She sidestepped, used his momentum, swept his leg. He hit the asphalt face first. His nose crunched. Blood spread. Vincent pulled something from his pocket. A tactical pen, military grade, designed to break bones. Okay, he said. You want to do this? Kira's hands remained loose at her sides. I gave you chances to walk away. You made your choice. He came at her fast, trained. He knew what he was doing. She blocked the pen strike, trapped his arm, rotated her hip, threw him over her shoulder. He hit the ground hard. The pen skittered away. Owen stood frozen. Holy, Owen, Trent wheezed. Help us. Owen didn't move. Kira kept her distance, hands up, defensive posture. You can still walk away, she said. All of you. Trent straightened, clutching his stomach. His face was red with rage and humiliation. Who the hell are you? Someone you shouldn't have touched. Vincent got to his feet, slower, cautious now. You're military. Does it matter? Three of them tried to coordinate. Box formation, flanking, professional. Kiera adjusted her stance. This is your last warning. Shut up, Brock charged. She let him come, waited, then dropped and swept both his legs. He went down face first. His nose, already broken, crunched again. He rolled onto his back, blood everywhere. Oh God, she broke my nose. Trent swung, wild haymaker, no technique, just anger. Kiera ducked under it, drove her elbow into his ribs, followed with a knee strike to his thigh. Dead leg. He crumpled. Vincent circled. Careful. You've had training, military CQC. She didn't answer. He feinted left, struck right. She blocked, countered with a palm heel to his chin. His head snapped back, but he didn't go down. You're good, he admitted. Real good, but you're what, 120? I'm 210. You can't win this. We'll see. Owen finally moved, not toward her, toward the bar. I'm getting help. Owen, Trent yelled. Get back here. Owen disappeared inside. Vincent muttered, coward. Kira's breathing was controlled, steady. Vincent was reassessing. You know what, he said. I respect it. You've got skills. So let's call it even. We'll go our separate ways. No cops, no drama. No. His expression hardened. No? You threatened me, assaulted me. You don't get to walk away because you're losing. We're not losing. Look at your friends. Brock was crying, blood all over his face. Trent was trying to stand. His leg gave out. What did you do to me? He gasped. Temporarily disabled your perineal nerve. You'll be fine in 20 minutes. Vincent stared at her. Who are you? The wrong woman. He laughed, but it wasn't confident anymore. You some kind of MMA fighter? No. Krav Maga? Guess again. Police? She smiled. No warmth in it. Colder. Sirens wailed in the distance. Then a voice called out from the bar entrance. I recorded everything. They all turned. Deb stood in the doorway, phone in her hand. I've been recording since you idiots followed her outside, and I called the cops 3 minutes ago. Trent's face went white. You what? I recorded everything, saw the whole thing through the window. You cornered her, threatened her, touched her, forced her outside. 2 police cruisers pulled into the parking lot, lights flashing. 4 officers emerged, hands near their weapons. Nobody move. Everyone froze. The lead officer scanned the scene. Woman standing calm. 4 men in various states of injury. Who called this in? Deb raised her hand. I did. I'm a witness. What happened? Those 4 men harassed this young lady inside my bar, cornered her, forced her outside. She defended herself. The officer looked at Kira. Ma'am, is this accurate? Yes, sir. Are you injured? No, sir. Did they strike you? One of them grabbed my arm. Another placed his hand on my thigh without consent. They blocked my exit and verbally threatened me. When I defended myself, they escalated. The officer's jaw tightened. Ma'am, do you have identification? Kira reached slowly into her pocket, produced her military common access card, handed it to the officer. He read it. His entire posture changed. Lieutenant Whitmore, Naval Special Warfare. Silence. Complete silence. Trent's mouth fell open. Vincent went pale as death. The officer looked up at Kira. Ma'am, you're a Navy SEAL? Yes, sir. Trent stumbled backward. No, she can't be. She's a... He caught himself. She's what? The officer asked. Trent didn't answer. Kira's voice was cold and clear. I earn my trident the same way any operator does, at BUD/S, through Hell Week, by never quitting. An unmarked car pulled up. A man emerged, late 50s, gray hair, civilian clothes, but there was no mistaking him. Master Chief Garrett Thornhill. He walked over, looked at the officer. Master Chief Garrett Thornhill, retired. This is one of my former students. The officer nodded. Thornhill turned to Kira. You hurt? No, Chief. He surveyed the scene. 3 men on the ground, one who'd run. They touch you? Yes, Chief. His jaw clenched. He turned to the officer. What do you need from us? Another car arrived. Detective Marcus Holland, 48, veteran cop. He took one look at the scene and pulled the officer aside. They spoke quietly. Holland returned. Lieutenant Whitmore, I'll be handling this investigation. He paused. We've been tracking these 4 men for 6 months. 7 women filed complaints. All used the exact same phrase. Don't scream. Did they say that to you? Kira's blood turned to ice. Yes. Holland nodded slowly. Then you need to come to the station. We have a lot to talk about. He looked at Thornhill. Chief, you're welcome to accompany her. As they walked toward the detective's car, Kira heard Vincent being cuffed. Heard him whisper to Trent, We're dead. We're fucking dead. She looked back once. 4 men. Broken. Defeated. And somewhere inside her, a voice that sounded like Natalie whispered, Thank you. The fight was over, but the war had just begun. The interrogation room smelled like stale coffee and industrial cleaner. Gray walls, metal table bolted to the floor, a mirror that everyone knew was a window, fluorescent lights that hummed like angry wasps. Kira sat with her hands wrapped around a styrofoam cup of water she hadn't touched. Master Chief Thornhill stood against the wall, arms crossed, watching. Detective Marcus Holland sat across from her with a file folder thick enough to be a phone book. It was 1:30 in the morning. Kira had been awake for 22 hours. Her body was crashing. The adrenaline that had carried her through the fight was gone, replaced by a bone-deep exhaustion that made her hands shake. Holland opened the file. Holland and Thornhill exchanged glances. Was it reported? Yes. Rape kit. Interviews. The whole process. And? Kira's voice went flat. Insufficient evidence. No prosecution. The men walked free. Holland nodded slowly, like he'd heard this story 1,000 times before. I'm sorry that happened to your sister. Me too. He pulled out photographs, 7 of them, spread them across the table like a hand of cards. Women, ages ranging from 19 to 27. Different hair colors, different backgrounds, but the same look in their eyes. Haunted, broken. These are 7 women who filed complaints against those 4 men in the past 18 months. All of them use the same phrase in their statements. Don't scream. Kira studied the photographs, saw her sister's face in each one. What happened to them? 3 committed suicide, 2 within 6 months of the assault, 1 last year. Kira felt something crack inside her chest. And the other 4? Too afraid to testify when we couldn't find corroborating evidence. No witnesses, no video, just their word against 4 Marines. Someone had to know, Thornhill said from the wall. You don't run an operation like this without someone noticing. Holland looked at him, then at Kira. Their commanding officer, Captain Jennifer Walsh, Camp Pendleton. She received 3 formal complaints in the past year, all dismissed. Why? That's the question I've been trying to answer for 6 months. Holland's phone rang. He glanced at the screen. His expression changed. Excuse me. He stepped into the hallway. Thornhill moved to sit where Holland had been. You okay? Kira didn't answer immediately. She was staring at the photographs, at the 3 women who'd chosen death over living with what had been done to them. No, Chief, I'm not okay. You did the right thing tonight. Did I? Because 3 women are dead and 4 more are too traumatized to speak. And I'm sitting here thinking if I just walked into a different bar, if I'd gone back to base like you told me to, maybe... Stop. Thornhill's voice cut through the room like a blade. You don't carry that weight. You hear me? You can't save people retroactively. You can only save the ones in front of you. I was trained to complete the mission. What's the mission here, Chief? Because right now it feels like I just got lucky. The mission is to stop them from hurting anyone else. And you did that. Tonight, with your hands and your training and your discipline. Kira looked up at him. At this man who'd screamed in her face during Hell Week, who'd watched her approach the bell 3 times and walk away 3 times, who'd pulled her aside after graduation and told her she was one of the toughest candidates he'd ever trained. They said the same words to my sister. I know. She was 16, Chief. 16. Thornhill reached across the table, put his hand over hers. It was the first time in 3 years he'd touched her outside of training. Then we don't just fight these 4 men, we fight the system that enabled them. The door opened. Holland returned. His expression was different now, harder. That was Owen Fletcher's attorney. The young one? Yes, he wants to make a deal. Thornhill sat up straighter. What kind of deal? Full testimony and evidence in exchange for reduced charges. Kira leaned forward. What evidence? Holland pulled out his phone, opened a video file, turned it toward Kira. The screen showed a bar, different from the rusty anchor. A woman in her early 20s sitting alone. 2 men approaching. One was Vincent, the other was Trent. The video had no sound, but Kira could read the body language. The woman trying to leave, the men blocking her, the isolation, the escalation. Holland swiped. Another video, different bar, different woman, same men, same pattern. How many? Kira asked. 47 videos, spanning 12 months. The room went silent. Jesus Christ, Thornhill whispered. Holland continued. Owen Fletcher kept recordings of everything. Videos, text messages, audio files. His attorney says Owen felt guilty but was too afraid to report it. Kept the evidence as insurance. Against what? Against them turning on him. Kira sat back. Her mind was racing. He documented his own crimes. Apparently, his conscience bothered him more than his fear. Until tonight, when he saw what you did to 3 trained Marines, he realized he was on the wrong side. Holland swiped through more videos, more women, more bars, more assaults that never got reported or never got believed. With Owen's cooperation, we can prove a pattern, conspiracy, premeditation. This wasn't 4 drunk guys making bad decisions. This was systematic predation. Why didn't the complaints go anywhere? Thornhill asked. You said their CO dismissed them. I've been trying to figure that out. Captain Walsh wouldn't return my calls, wouldn't cooperate with the investigation. Every time I got close, I get a call from someone higher up telling me to back off. How high? Colonel level, maybe higher. Kira felt sick. They protected them. I think so, but I couldn't prove it. Until now. Holland closed the video file, looked at Kira. With your testimony, the video from tonight, and Owen's evidence, we can end this. But I need to know if you're willing to go through what comes next. What comes next? Media attention, scrutiny. Your face is already going viral. That video from the parking lot? It's all over social media. Kira's stomach dropped. What video? Deb didn't just call the police. She posted the footage on Facebook. As of 20 minutes ago, it had 2 million views. Thornhill swore under his breath. Holland continued. By morning, it'll be on every news channel. Your name, your face, your service record, everything. My career, your career as a covert operator is over. I'm sorry, but that's the reality. Kira stood abruptly, walked to the corner of the room, put her hands on the wall, breathed. She'd worked her entire adult life for this, given up Stanford, given up a normal life, survived Hell Week, earned her trident, and now it was over because 4 predators decided she looked like easy prey. "Lieutenant," Holland said quietly, "I know this isn't what you wanted, but those 7 women, the 3 who killed themselves, they needed someone like you to exist. They needed proof that fighting back was possible." Kira didn't turn around. "I need some air." "Of course, we'll continue this in the morning." Thornhill followed her out. They stood in the parking lot of the police station at 2 in the morning. The air was cold, stars visible, traffic non-existent. Kira leaned against Thornhill's truck. "I'm done, Chief." "No, you're not. My career is over. My face is all over the internet. I can't operate anymore. I'm compromised." "So you'll do something else." "Like what?" Thornhill was quiet for a long moment. "When I came back from the Gulf War, I thought I was done. I'd seen too much, done too much, couldn't sleep, couldn't relate to anyone who hadn't been there." Kira looked at him. "What changed?" "I started training the next generation, started teaching young sailors how to survive, how to fight, how to never quit. And I realized that wasn't less important than operating. It was more important. I'm 22 years old, Chief. I've been operational for 8 months. I'm not ready to teach." "You're ready, you just don't know it yet." They stood in silence. Then Kira's phone buzzed. Text from Natalie. "Kira, I saw the video. Everyone saw it. Are you okay?" Kira's hands shook as she typed. "I'm fine. I'll call you in the morning. I'm proud of you. You did what I couldn't do. You survived. That's harder. They're saying you're violent, that you overreacted. It's exactly what they said to me." Kira closed her eyes. Exactly what they'd said to Natalie, that she'd overreacted, that boys will be boys, that she should have just left if she was uncomfortable. The system was already preparing to do the same thing to Kira. She called Natalie instead of texting. Her sister answered on the first ring. "Kira." "Hey, Nat. Are you hurt?" "No, I'm fine. I watched the video 10 times. Those men..." Her voice broke. "I know. They said the same things. The exact same things." "I know." Natalie was crying now. "Why didn't anyone believe me? Why did they believe you?" Kira felt tears on her own face. "Because I had video. Because I'm military. Because the system needed undeniable proof before it would act. That's not justice." "I know. I'm scared, Kira. I'm scared that even with all that proof, they'll still find a way to make you the bad guy." "They might, probably will. Then why are you doing this?" Kira looked up at the stars, at the same sky her sister was looking at 300 miles away. "Because if I don't, the next woman won't have proof. The next woman will freeze. The next woman will be told she's lying. And I can't live with that." Natalie was quiet for a moment. "I love you." "I love you too, Nat. Come home soon. I need to see you." "Soon, I promise." After they hung up, Thornhill handed her a water bottle. "Drink." She did. "Now listen to me. What happened tonight isn't over. It's just beginning. Tomorrow the media will tear you apart. They'll question everything. Your training, your judgment, your motives." "I know. And the military will distance itself from you. They'll reassign you, take you off active operations." "I know. But here's what they can't take: your trident, your training, your dignity, and the fact that you stopped 4 predators from hurting anyone else." Kira nodded. "Get some sleep," Thornhill said. "Tomorrow we fight a different kind of battle." But Kira didn't sleep. She sat in her barracks room and watched as the video spread across the internet like wildfire. By 5 in the morning, it had 20 million views. By 7, it was on CNN. By 8, she had 214 death threats and 8,700 messages of support. The headlines were split down the middle. "Female Navy SEAL stops sexual predators in heroic act." "Military woman uses excessive force against drunk civilians." "SEAL versus Marines. Inter-service rivalry turns violent." The comment sections were worse. She should be arrested for assault. Those men were just talking to her. Thank God someone finally fought back. She's a hero. Women in the military are too emotional. This proves it. I was assaulted 3 years ago. Seeing her fight gives me hope. She's probably lying. False accusation epidemic. She's a trained killer. Of course she overreacted. Kira read them all. Every single one. Until her roommate Sarah took the phone from her hands. Stop. You're torturing yourself. I need to know what they're saying. No, you don't. You need to sleep. I can't. Sarah sat on the edge of Kira's bunk. You did the right thing. Did I? Because half the country thinks I'm a violent lunatic. The other half thinks you're a hero. I don't want to be a hero. I just wanted to drink water and go to bed. Sarah smiled sadly. Too late for that now. At 0800, Kira reported to Captain Brennan's office. Commander Rachel Stone was already there. So was Thornhill. Brennan stood when she entered, gestured to a chair. Sit, Lieutenant. She sat. Brennan looked older than usual, tired. I've reviewed the incident report, the video, Detective Holland's preliminary findings. He paused. You showed remarkable restraint. Everything you did was by the book. Textbook self-defense. Thank you, sir. You also created the biggest public relations storm this base has seen in a decade. Kira said nothing. Your face is on every news channel. 20 million people have seen that video. Your name is trending on Twitter. There are protesters outside the gate right now. Protesters? Both kinds. People supporting you. People calling for your arrest. He sat down heavily. Lieutenant, you're a good sailor. One of the best I've commanded. But you're compromised. Your face is internationally recognizable now. You can't operate when enemies know exactly who you are. Kira felt the floor drop out from under her. Sir, I'm reassigning you, effective immediately, training division. You'll mentor female SEAL candidates. Sir, I'm 22. I've been operational 8 months. I have 3 more years on my contract, and you'll serve those 3 years, just not as an operator. Thornhill stepped forward. Sir, with respect, are you punishing her for defending herself? Brennan's expression hardened. I'm protecting her. I'm protecting this unit, and I'm protecting the operational security of every mission she would have been assigned to. He looked back at Kira. You did the right thing, Lieutenant, but there are consequences to visibility. I'm sorry, but this decision is final. Sir, operating is all I know, all I trained for. Then you'll learn something new. You're dismissed. Kira stood, saluted, walked out. In the hallway, she made it 5 steps before her legs gave out. She sat down hard on the floor. Stone sat beside her. I know that wasn't what you wanted to hear. My career is over. Your career as an operator is over. That's not the same thing. It is to me. Stone was quiet for a moment. When I was a lieutenant about your age, I watched a male colleague get promoted over me despite having worse evaluations. When I asked why, my CO said women made men uncomfortable in combat situations. Kira looked at her. What did you do? I considered quitting, considered walking away from the Navy entirely. But then I realized that if I quit, they win. The system wins. The men who think women don't belong win. So what did you do? I stayed. I fought. I got promoted anyway. And when I made commander, I made damn sure no woman under my command would face what I faced. This is different. Is it? You're being told your career is over because you defended yourself, because you became visible, because you made powerful people uncomfortable. Kira leaned her head back against the wall. I gave up everything for this, Commander. Stanford, a normal life. I survived Hell Week. I earned my trident. And now it's over because 4 predators walked into a bar. It's not over. It's changing. And maybe that change is exactly what the Navy needs. Thornhill appeared at the end of the hallway. Lieutenant, you have a visitor. Who? Detective Holland. Says it's urgent. They met in a conference room. Holland looked like he hadn't slept either. "Lieutenant Whitmore, I need to show you something." He opened his laptop, pulled up an email chain. After Owen Fletcher agreed to cooperate, I started digging into why those complaints were buried. This morning, I got a call from someone who wants to remain anonymous. They sent me this. He turned the screen toward Kira. The email was from Colonel David Morrison to Captain Jennifer Walsh, dated 6 months ago. "Walsh, I need you to handle the situation with those 3 Marines quietly. We cannot afford a sexual assault scandal during recruitment season. These boys are our top recruiters, worth more than some complaints from women who put themselves in bad situations. Make it go away." Kiera read it twice. "This is from a colonel?" "Yes, commanding officer of Camp Pendleton." Thornhill leaned over her shoulder, read the email. His jaw clenched. They knew. Command knew and buried it. Holland scrolled to another email. "Colonel Morrison, I've spoken with the women. Explained that pursuing charges will be difficult without physical evidence. 2 have agreed to drop their complaints. The 3rd is persistent. I'll handle it." Another email, 2 weeks later. "The situation is resolved. All complaints withdrawn. The Marines in question have been counseled. This matter is closed." Kira felt rage building in her chest. They protected rapists to maintain recruitment numbers. That's what it looks like. How high does this go? "I don't know yet, but Captain Walsh wants to talk." "About what?" "She says she wants to confess." The meeting happened 2 hours later. District Attorney Rachel Kim was there. So was Holland, Thornhill, Kira, and Captain Jennifer Walsh. She was 45. Decorated officer, 23 years of service, 2 combat deployments. She looked like she'd aged 10 years in the past week. "Lieutenant Whitmore," she began, "I need you to know that what I did was wrong, unforgivably wrong." Kira said nothing. Walsh continued. "I received 3 formal complaints about those Marines. December 2023, May 2024, August 2024. Each time I was ordered by Colonel Morrison to handle it quietly, to protect the unit's reputation." "Why did you follow those orders?" "Because I was afraid. Afraid of damaging my career. Afraid of rocking the boat. Afraid of being labeled a troublemaker." 7 women were assaulted. 3 of them are dead. Walsh's voice broke. "I know, God, I know. And I'll carry that for the rest of my life." She pushed a folder across the table. "This is everything. Every email, every order, every conversation I had with Colonel Morrison. I'm giving it all to you." D.A. Kim opened the folder, started reading. Walsh looked at Kira. "I have a daughter. She's 20, junior at San Diego State. When I saw your video, when I watched you fight back, I realized..." She stopped, wiped her eyes. "I realized it could have been her. Any of those women could have been my daughter, and I did nothing to protect them." Thornhill spoke for the first time. "Why are you coming forward now?" "Because Lieutenant Whitmore did what I should have done. She fought. She stood up. She refused to be silent." Walsh stood. "I'll testify. I'll accept court-martial. I'll do whatever it takes to make this right." "You can't make it right," Kira said quietly. 3 women are dead. 4 more are traumatized. My career is over. You can't fix any of that. "I know, but I can make sure it doesn't happen again." After Walsh left, D.A. Kim looked at Kira. "With her testimony, Owen's evidence, and your case, we can not only convict these 4 men, we can expose the institutional failure that enabled them." "What does that mean?" "Congressional hearings, Inspector General investigation, potential criminal charges against Colonel Morrison." "That could take years." "Yes, and you'll be at the center of it. Your face, your name, your story." Kira looked at Thornhill. He nodded slowly. "Your call, Lieutenant." She thought about the 13 women waiting for justice, about the system that had failed them, about the chance to make sure it never happened again. "What do you need from me?" Kim smiled. Everything. Your testimony, your time, your courage. You have it. Over the next 3 days, 6 more women came forward. Total, 13 victims willing to testify. One of them was Jessica Martinez, 24 years old, marketing coordinator, assaulted 14 months ago by Vincent in Trent, reported it to Camp Pendleton Military Police, told it was a he said, she said situation. Case dismissed. She tried to kill herself 2 months ago. Pills. Her roommate found her in time. Kira met her at a coffee shop near the hospital where Jessica was still in outpatient treatment. Jessica was small, maybe 5'2", blonde hair, haunted eyes. Lieutenant Whitmore. Just Kira, please. They sat. Jessica stirred her coffee without drinking it. I watched your video 50 times. I'm sorry you had to see that. No, don't apologize. Watching you fight back, it was the first time I believed it was possible. You fought back too. You reported it. Jessica laughed bitterly. And nobody believed me. The MPs said I was drunk, that I'd led them on, that I should have just left if I was uncomfortable. The same things they said to my sister. Jessica looked up sharply. Your sister? Kira told her. About Natalie. About 3 years ago. About 3 men in a parking lot and a system that failed her. When she finished, Jessica was crying. Why did they believe you and not us? It was the question Kira had been asking herself for 3 days. Because I had video. Because I'm military. Because I gave them undeniable proof. That's not justice. No, it's not. I tried to kill myself, Jessica said quietly, 2 months ago. Couldn't live with everyone thinking I was a liar. I'm sorry. Don't be. I failed. And now I'm glad I did. Because I get to testify. I get to look them in the eye and tell the truth. She reached across the table, took Kira's hand. Will you be there? At the trial? Every day. Promise? I promise. That night, Kira stood on the beach near the base. Same spot where she'd stood after the container mission. A lifetime ago. 4 days ago. Thornhill found her there. Couldn't sleep? No. He stood beside her, watched the waves. You know what the difference is between a warrior and a hero? What? A warrior fights for herself. A hero fights so others don't have to. Kira looked at him. I didn't want to be a hero, Chief. I just wanted to be invisible. Do the mission. Get out. I know, but sometimes we don't get to choose our battles. Sometimes the battles choose us. My career is over. Your career as an operator is over. But your legacy? That's just beginning. What legacy? Those 13 women who came forward. The institutional reform that's coming. The next generation of female SEALs who'll have your example to follow. Kira shook her head. That's not what I signed up for. No, it's better than what you signed up for. They stood in silence. Then Kira's phone buzzed. News alert. Washington Post. Marine Corps commanders buried sexual assault complaints to protect recruitment numbers. Catherine Ross had published her investigation. Within an hour, it was everywhere. Within 2 hours, Congress announced hearings. Within 3 hours, the Secretary of Defense was called to testify. The system was beginning to crack, and Kira stood at the center of it all, watching her old life disappear and her new life take shape in ways she couldn't yet understand. Thornhill put a hand on her shoulder. Ready for what comes next? Kira looked out at the Pacific, at the endless, dark water, at the horizon where she couldn't see what was coming but knew it was there. No, Chief, but I'll do it anyway. That's all any of us can do. They walked back toward the base together. Behind them, the waves kept coming, relentless, inevitable, unchanging. But the woman walking away from them had changed everything, and she didn't even know it yet. 6 months changed everything. The parking lot fight happened in August. By September, Owen Fletcher had turned over 47 videos, 300 text messages, and 12 audio recordings. By October, Brock Donovan accepted a plea deal. 15 years federal prison, parole eligible in 10. By November, Captain Jennifer Walsh was court-martialed and dishonorably discharged. Colonel David Morrison resigned under pressure. 2 days before the Inspector General's report would have recommended criminal charges. By December, congressional hearings on military sexual assault had created new protocols, new oversight, new consequences for commanders who buried complaints. By January, Jessica Martinez had testified before a grand jury without breaking down. And by February, when the trial finally began, Kiera Whitmore had been reassigned to SEAL Training Division for 4 months. She'd mentored 18 female candidates through the initial screening process. Watched them suffer, watched them quit, watched them succeed. She'd stopped being an operator, started being something else, something she still didn't have a name for. The trial started on a cold Tuesday morning, February 12th, federal courthouse in downtown San Diego. Kiera stood on the steps in her dress uniform, Navy service dress blues, ribbons across her chest, Navy Cross from a classified mission, Purple Heart from a firefight in Yemen she wasn't allowed to talk about, Combat Action Ribbon, SEAL Trident gleaming gold in the winter sun. Master Chief Thornhill stood beside her in his own dress uniform, retired but still military in every way that mattered. "You ready?" he asked. "No." "Good. Means you're taking it seriously." The protesters had been there since dawn. 2 groups, separated by police barricades and 50 feet of sidewalk that might as well have been the Grand Canyon. On the left, women holding signs, "Believe survivors. Thank you, Lieutenant Whitmore. Justice for the 13. On the right, men holding different signs, "Innocent until proven guilty. Due process matters. Witch hunt." Kiera looked at neither group, walked up the steps, through the metal detectors, into the courtroom that would become her second home for the next 3 weeks. The room was packed. Press in the back rows, victims in the middle, military brass in suits near the front, and at the defense table, Vincent Blackwell and Trent Callahan. Vincent looked thinner, hollow-eyed. Prison had aged him 5 years and 6 months. Trent looked worse, pale, jumpy. He wouldn't look at Kiera when she walked past, but Vincent did. He stared at her with cold hatred. She stared back with nothing at all. District Attorney Rachel Kim stood when the judge entered. "The United States calls its first witness, Lieutenant Kiera Whitmore." Kiera walked to the stand, raised her right hand, swore to tell the truth. Kim approached with a tablet computer. "Lieutenant Whitmore, can you describe what happened on the night of August 15th? Kiera told her story. 4th time now. It didn't get easier. Every detail felt like pulling glass from a wound. When she finished, Kim showed the video from the parking lot. The jury watched in silence. Watched Kiera take down 3 trained Marines with controlled precision. Watched her maintain defensive posture. Watched her give them chance after chance to walk away. When the video ended, Kim asked one question. "Lieutenant, at any point during that encounter, did you lose control?" "No, ma'am." "How can you be certain?" "Because if I'd lost control, they'd all be dead." The courtroom went silent. Kim let that hang for a moment. No further questions. Robert Carlson stood, defense attorney, 60 years old, silver hair, expensive suit, the kind of lawyer rich people hired when they needed someone destroyed. He smiled at Kiera like a shark. "Lieutenant Whitmore, you're a Navy SEAL. Is that correct?" "Yes, sir." "And as a SEAL, you're trained in hand-to-hand combat, close quarters battle, how to kill with your bare hands if necessary." "I'm trained to neutralize threats using appropriate force, which can include lethal force when necessary." "But you could have killed all 4 of my clients that night. Yes or no?" "Yes." "Yet you chose not to. Why?" "Because they didn't present a lethal threat once I controlled the situation." Carlson paced, playing to the jury. "How noble. Tell me, Lieutenant, Why didn't you identify yourself as a Navy SEAL when my clients first approached you? I'm not required to announce my credentials to exist in public. But if you had, this entire situation could have been avoided. Isn't that true? Kira leaned forward slightly. Are you suggesting that women need to prove they're dangerous enough to be left alone? That no isn't sufficient? Carlson's smile tightened. I'm suggesting you had a duty to de-escalate. I attempted to de-escalate verbally. 3 times. Your clients refused. They cornered me. They touched me without consent. They forced me outside. At what point does my duty to de-escalate end and my right to self-defense begin? When you're actually in danger. I was in danger. From 4 drunk men who never actually struck you? Your clients had a pattern. They'd assaulted 12 other women using the exact same tactics, the same words, the same isolation techniques. I recognized what was happening because it happened to my sister 3 years ago. Carlson pounced. Ah, yes, your sister. Let's talk about that. D.A. Kim stood. Objection. Relevance? Goes to the witness's bias and motive, Your Honor. The judge considered. I'll allow it, but tread carefully, Mr. Carlson. Carlson turned back to Kira. Your sister Natalie claims she was assaulted 3 years ago by 3 men. Is that correct? Kira's jaw clenched. She didn't claim it, it happened. But the case was never prosecuted. The district attorney declined to file charges due to insufficient evidence. Isn't that true? The evidence was there. The system failed her. Or perhaps there was no assault. Perhaps your sister. Watch your next words very carefully, counselor. Thornhill's voice cut through the courtroom from the gallery. Not loud, but weighted with enough authority that Carlson actually stopped. The judge banged his gavel. Master Chief Thornhill, one more outburst and you'll be removed from this courtroom. Thornhill nodded, said nothing else, but the message was sent. Carlson continued more carefully now. Lieutenant Whitmore, isn't it true that you joined the military because of what allegedly happened to your sister? I joined the military to serve my country and to make sure no one else experiences what she experienced. So you have a vendetta against men you perceive as predators. I have a duty to protect those who can't protect themselves. That includes my sister, yes. It also includes Jessica Martinez, Amy Sullivan, Rachel Morrison, the 13 other women your clients victimized. Alleged victims. Victims. Owen Fletcher's recordings prove it. Carlson's expression hardened. Let's talk about your training. You underwent BUD/S, Hell Week. You learned to withstand interrogation, torture, extreme physical duress. Is that accurate? Yes. So when 4 drunk civilians approached you in a bar, you weren't actually afraid, were you? I was terrified. The courtroom stirred. Carlson looked surprised. Terrified? You? A Navy SEAL? Training doesn't erase fear, counselor. It teaches you to function through it. Yes, I was afraid. Afraid they'd do to me what they'd done to 12 other women. Afraid I'd have to hurt them to stop them. Afraid no one would believe me even with video evidence. But you didn't look afraid in that video. Because I couldn't afford to. Fear clouds judgment, gets you killed. So I pushed it down and did what needed to be done. Carlson paced again. You used military training, taxpayer-funded training, to brutalize 4 drunk Marines. I used my training to stop 4 trained Marines from assaulting me. Marines who'd done this 12 times before. Marines who planned it. Marines who had a script. They were intoxicated, judgment impaired. Being drunk doesn't erase intent. They knew exactly what they were doing. The text messages proved they planned it. The videos proved they practiced it. This wasn't 4 drunk guys making bad decisions. This was systematic predation. Carlson switched tactics. Let's talk about proportional force. You broke my client Brock Donovan's nose. Is that correct? Yes. You could have simply pushed him away, but you chose to break his nose. He charged at me. I defended myself using the minimum force necessary to stop the threat. Minimum force. You shattered his nose, required surgery to repair. I could have hit his temple, could have crushed his trachea, could have ruptured his spleen. I chose his nose because it stops an attacker without causing permanent damage. That's discipline, counselor. That's restraint. Carlson was getting frustrated now. One final question, Lieutenant. Do you regret what you did that night? The courtroom went silent. Everyone waited. Kira looked at Jessica Martinez in the gallery, at Natalie, who'd driven down from college, at Thornhill, at the three women in the back row who'd survived Vincent and Trent. She looked back at Carlson. I regret that it was necessary. I regret that 13 women were hurt before anyone listened. I regret that my sister was assaulted and the system failed her. She paused. But do I regret defending myself? Do I regret giving these women a voice? Do I regret stopping two predators from hurting anyone else? Another pause. No, sir, I don't regret that at all. Thornhill gave a small nod from the gallery. Carlson sat down. Kim stood for redirect. Lieutenant Whitmore, in your professional opinion as a Navy SEAL trained in close quarters combat, did you use appropriate force that night? Yes, ma'am. Could you have killed those men? Yes, ma'am. Why didn't you? Because I'm not like them. They use violence to dominate and intimidate. I use it to protect. There's a difference. No further questions. The trial continued for 3 weeks. Week 1 was victim testimony. 13 women, all with the same story, different bars, different dates, same pattern, same words, same men. Jessica Martinez testified on day 4. She made it 20 minutes before breaking down on the stand, sobbing so hard she couldn't breathe. The judge called a recess. Kira stood, walked past the bailiff, past the attorneys, straight to Jessica. The bailiff moved to stop her. Thornhill stood. Let her go. The bailiff looked at the judge. The judge nodded. Kira reached Jessica, knelt beside her, took her hand. Breathe. Just breathe. I can't do this. Yes, you can. They're all looking at me, judging me. They're not. Look at me, just me. Jessica looked up, eyes red, mascara running. You came back, she whispered. I promised I would. I'm so scared. I know, but you're not alone. Not anymore. Jessica squeezed her hand. Can you stay? Just until I finish? I'll stay as long as you need. The judge allowed it. Kira sat in the front row, made eye contact with Jessica every time she faltered. And Jessica finished her testimony. All of it, every detail. Week 2 was evidence. Owen Fletcher's videos, text messages, audio recordings. The jury watched grown men plan assaults like military operations. Watch them laugh about it afterward. Watch them high-five and celebrate and plan the next one. Vincent on video, 2 months before the parking lot. 12 successful hunts. Let's make lucky 13. The jury looked sick. Captain Walsh testified on day 11. She brought boxes of emails, documented the entire cover-up, explained how Colonel Morrison had ordered her to bury complaints, how she'd prioritized her career over women's lives. She cried on the stand. The jury didn't look sympathetic. Week 3 was defense witnesses, character witnesses for Vincent and Trent, fellow Marines who testified they were good men, good soldiers, loyal, dedicated. Carlson tried to paint them as victims of a vengeful system, of a woman with military training and an axe to grind. It didn't work. The evidence was too strong, the videos too clear, the pattern too obvious. On March 5th, the jury deliberated for 9 hours. Kira waited in the hallway with Thornhill, Natalie, and Jessica. Natalie paced. Jessica sat with her head in her hands. Thornhill stood against the wall like a statue. Kira stared at nothing. What if they go free? Natalie asked. They won't. But what if they do? Kira looked at her sister. Then we appeal, and we keep fighting until we win. Jessica looked up. I couldn't have testified without you. None of us could. You did the hard part. I just stood there. No, you proved it was possible. You proved that fighting back works. At 1700 hours, the bailiff emerged. Jury's back. They filed into the courtroom. Kira's hands were shaking. She clasped them together, breathed. The judge entered. Has the jury reached a verdict? The foreperson stood. A woman in her 50s, elementary school teacher, mother of 3. We have, Your Honor, in the case of the United States versus Vincent Blackwell, on the charge of assault, how do you find? Guilty. On the charge of attempted sexual assault? Guilty. On the charge of conspiracy? Guilty. On the charge of kidnapping? Guilty. Vincent's face went white. The judge continued. In the case of the United States versus Trent Callahan, on the charge of assault? Guilty. Trent put his head in his hands. All guilty. All charges. Both men. Natalie grabbed Kira's hand, squeezed hard. Jessica was crying. Thornhill's expression didn't change, but his jaw unclenched slightly. Sentencing came 3 days later, March 8th. The courtroom was packed again. Every victim present, every supporter, every journalist. Vincent Blackwell was sentenced first. The judge looked at him with open disgust. Mr. Blackwell, you are a predator. You systematically targeted vulnerable women. You planned your attacks. You coordinated with others. You showed no remorse. And when you were caught, you blamed everyone but yourself. He paused. The court sentences you to 35 years in federal prison. No possibility of parole. Vincent's lawyer objected. The judge overruled. Trent Callahan was next. He was crying before the judge even spoke. Mr. Callahan, you were a willing participant in these attacks. You may not have been the mastermind, but you were an enthusiastic accomplice. You hurt 13 women. 3 of them are dead because of what you did. 25 years federal prison, no possibility of parole. Trent sobbed. Brock Donovan, who'd taken the plea deal, received 15 years, parole eligible in 10. Owen Fletcher received 10 years, parole eligible in 7. As the marshals led Vincent away, he stopped, turned, stared at Kira. You destroyed us. Our lives are over. Kira stood, walked to the railing, looked him in the eye. No, you destroyed yourselves. You destroyed 13 women's lives. I just made sure everyone saw it. Vincent's face twisted with rage. You think you're a hero? Thornhill appeared beside Kira. She doesn't need to think it. She is one. Vincent was led away, screaming obscenities until the door closed behind him. The press conference happened on the courthouse steps. 50 microphones, 100 cameras, protesters still on both sides, but the ones supporting Kira were louder now. A reporter from CNN spoke first. Lieutenant Whitmore, how do you feel about the verdict? Kira looked directly at the camera. This verdict doesn't undo trauma. It doesn't give 13 women back what was stolen from them. 3 women are still dead. But it sends a message. Predators will be held accountable. The system can work when witnesses speak up, when evidence is preserved, when people refuse to stay silent. Do you regret fighting back? I regret that it was necessary. I regret that 13 women were hurt before anyone listened. But I'll never regret defending myself or giving these women a voice. What's next for you? I'm going to train the next generation of female SEALs. I'm going to make sure no woman in uniform ever feels as alone as those 13 women did. Do you consider yourself a hero? Kira paused, thought about Jessica breaking down on the stand, about Natalie driving 300 miles to support her, about 3 women who'd chosen death over living with what had been done to them. No, the heroes are the women who testified, who faced their attackers in court, who survived when the system told them they were lying. I just did my job. Your job as a SEAL? My job as a human being. Jessica Martinez pushed through the crowd of reporters. Her eyes were clear now. No more haunting shadows. Kira. They hugged. No words needed. When they pulled apart, Jessica's hands were steady for the first time in months. I'm starting a new job next week. Victim advocate. I'm going to help other women navigate the system. Kira smiled. You're going to save lives. I learned from the best. Jessica glanced back at the courthouse, at the doors Vincent and Trent had been led through. For the first time in 14 months, I can breathe. Really breathe. Thank you. You did the hard part. We both did. 6 months passed. August turned to September, turned to October. Kira trained 18 female SEAL candidates through initial screening. 12 quit. 6 made it to BUD/S. By November, she'd been assigned a full class. 40 female candidates, ages 19 to 24. Different backgrounds, different stories, same determination. First day of training, Kira stood in front of them in her uniform. Trident gleaming, ribbons displayed. Master Chief Thornhill stood beside her. This is Lieutenant Kira Whitmore, he announced. She's going to teach you what I taught her. How to survive, how to fight, how to never quit. He looked at Kira. She's all yours, Lieutenant. Kira faced the class. 40 young women, nervous, excited, terrified. I'm not here to make you warriors, she said. Warriors are born, not made. I'm here to give you the tools to survive and the discipline to win. A hand went up. Young recruit, maybe 19, red hair, freckles. Ma'am, is it true what happened last year? The parking lot? Yes, everything you read is true. Another hand. Ma'am, will we face situations like that? Kira was quiet for a moment. Statistically, 1 in 4 military women report harassment or assault. So yes, you probably will. Maybe not exactly like what I experienced, but something. Some man who thinks your uniform is for show. Some situation where you have to choose between compliance and conflict. She paused. But here's what you need to know. You have choices. Fight, flight, freeze. All valid responses depending on the situation. But if you choose fight, I'm going to make sure you win. She demonstrated the gooseneck lock, the same technique Thornhill had taught her, the same technique that had saved her life. Master Chief Thornhill taught me this when I was 20 years old. Now I'm teaching you, not because I want you to hurt people, but because I want you to have options. Training was brutal. Kira pushed them harder than she'd been pushed, made them run until they vomited, swim until they couldn't feel their arms, hold their breath until they saw stars. 3 quit the first week, 5 more the second week. By week 4, they were down to 32. By week 8, 28. Thornhill watched from the observation deck as Kira put them through water exercises, dunking drills, underwater knot tying, the same exercises that had broken so many candidates over the decades. Commander Stone joined him. She's a natural instructor. She learned from the best, Stone smiled. You trained her well, Master Chief. I gave her tools. She did the rest. Think they'll make it? All of them? Thornhill watched as Kira pulled a struggling candidate from the pool, shouted encouragement, pushed her back in. With her leading them, every single one. By March, all 40 candidates advanced to the next phase of training. Unprecedented. Usually 20% made it through initial screening. Kira had pushed 90% through. The graduation ceremony was scheduled for March 15th, 1 year after the trial verdict. The night before graduation, Kira stood on the same beach where she'd stood so many times before. Same waves, same stars, different woman. Natalie found her there. Hey, Nat. Natalie sat in the sand. Kira sat beside her. Big day tomorrow. Yeah. You nervous? Terrified. Why? What if I didn't prepare them enough? What if they're not ready? Natalie bumped her shoulder. They're ready. You made them ready. They sat in silence for a moment. I'm proud of you, Natalie said. For what? For everything. For fighting back. For testifying. For changing the system. I didn't change the system, Nat. I just made noise. You did more than that. You showed me, showed all of us, that fighting back was possible. Kira looked at her sister. How are you doing? Really? Better. Therapy helps. The support group helps. And seeing you kick ass helps most of all. She smiled. I'm starting a survivor advocacy program at school, helping other women navigate reporting assaults, making sure they have support. That's amazing. I learned from the best. Kira's phone buzzed. Text from unknown number. I was assaulted 2 years ago. Never reported. After following your trial, I filed charges yesterday. He was arrested this morning. Thank you for showing me it's possible. Kiera showed Natalie. Natalie read it, wiped her eyes. See? You changed everything. Footsteps behind them. Thornhill. You two having a moment? Just talking, Chief. He sat on Natalie's other side. Big day tomorrow, Lieutenant. So everyone keeps telling me, you know what I see when I look at those 40 women? What? I see 40 warriors who are going to change the Navy. 40 women who'll serve with honor, who'll lead with compassion, who'll never let another woman feel alone. He paused. And I see you in every single one of them. Kira felt tears threatening. I wanted to be an operator, Chief. Be invisible. Complete missions. Disappear. I know. And now I'm the most visible SEAL in the country. My face is everywhere. My story is everywhere. I can't hide anymore. No, you can't. So what do I do? Thornhill looked at her. You do what you've been doing. You train the next generation. You make sure no woman after you has to fight alone. You build a legacy. That's not what I wanted. No, it's better than what you wanted. The graduation ceremony happened at 0900. 40 female SEAL candidates stood in formation. Dress uniforms, families in the stands, press cameras recording. Captain Brennan gave a speech about dedication and service. Commander Stone presented certificates, and Master Chief Thornhill called each name. Recruit Anderson. Recruit Brooks. Recruit Chen. One by one, they stepped forward, shook hands, received their advancement papers. When the last name was called, Thornhill turned to the formation. These 40 women have completed initial SEAL training. They have shown exceptional discipline, strength, and determination. They will now advance to BUD/S, where they will continue their journey to earn the Trident. He paused. But I want you to remember something. This record, 40 candidates advancing from a single class, has never been achieved before. Not in my 40 years of service. Not in the history of this program. He looked at Kira. And it wouldn't have happened without Lieutenant Whitmore. She pushed you. She challenged you. She refused to let you quit. So when you're in the surf, when you're in the pool, when you're staring at that bell and thinking about ringing out, remember her. Remember what she sacrificed to be here. Remember what she fought for. And remember that you're not alone. Dismissed. The formation broke. Families rushed the field. Celebrations erupted. Kira stood to the side, watching. After the families cleared, Thornhill appeared. Good work, Lieutenant. They did the work, Chief. You gave them the tools. That's what leadership looks like. He paused. I'm retiring next month. Kira looked at him sharply. What? 42 years is enough. Time to let the next generation lead. Chief, I can't do this without you. Yes, you can. You've been doing it for 6 months. But, no buts. You're ready. You've been ready. He put a hand on her shoulder. You know what the best part of training you was? What? Watching you become someone even I couldn't have imagined. Someone stronger than me. Someone better. Kira felt tears coming. I learned everything from you. No, you learned how to survive from me. You learned how to lead from yourself. The beach was empty now. Families gone. Graduates scattered. Only Kira and Thornhill remained. They stood watching the waves. What happens now? Kira asked. Now you keep training them. Keep pushing them. Keep building a legacy that'll outlast both of us. That's not what I meant. I know what you meant. You're asking if it gets easier. If the weight of what happened becomes bearable. If you'll ever feel like yourself again. He looked at her. The answer is no. It doesn't get easier. The weight doesn't lift. You just get stronger. Strong enough to carry it. And eventually that weight becomes part of you. Part of who you are. I don't want to be defined by one night. You're not. You're defined by what you did after. By the women you trained. By the system you changed. By the legacy you're building. What if that's not enough? It's more than enough, trust me. The sun was setting over the Pacific, golden light on dark water. Kira's phone buzzed one more time. Another unknown number, another woman, another story about filing charges, about fighting back, about hope. She showed Thornhill. He smiled. See? You didn't just change 40 women's lives. You changed thousands. I just wanted to survive, Chief. I know, but you did more than survive. You showed everyone else how to survive too. Is that enough? More than enough. They turned from the water, walked back toward the base. Behind them, the waves continued their endless rhythm, crashing, retreating, crashing again, relentless, inevitable, eternal. The sun set over the Pacific. Thornhill stood beside Kira one last time. You know what this reminds me of? He asked. What, Chief? Every sunset I watched from a ship deck. Every mission that ended with someone coming home. That's what legacies are. Not monuments. Just making sure the next person has a better chance than you did. Kira nodded, understood. Somewhere in America, another woman was reading this story. Finding courage, filing charges. The mission continued. Because that's what warriors do. They fight, they protect, they pass the torch, and they never, ever quit. Lieutenant Kira Whitmore, 23 years old, Navy SEAL, instructor, survivor, warrior, hero. The fight in the parking lot had lasted 90 seconds, but its echo would last forever. In congressional hearings, in 40 female SEAL candidates who refused to quit, in the hearts of women who'd been told they were lying. The most important missions aren't always fought in darkness. Sometimes they happen in parking lots, in courtrooms, in plain sight, where everyone can see that no means no, that silence enables evil, and that one woman with courage can change everything.